in the Valley of Elah, where the wind whispered through the dust and two armies stood frozen in fear, a single challenge echoed across the battlefield. A giant warrior stepped forward, towering above every soldier in Israel. His armor shimmered like bronze fire beneath the sun, his voice shaking the ground itself. His name was Goliath. For 40 days he mocked an entire nation. But what happened next would become one of the most shocking moments in history. And if you stay with this story until the end, you will discover the hidden truth behind the battle that changed everything. Before we begin, make sure to like this video and share it with a friend who loves powerful biblical stories. Because in the next few minutes, you will see how courage defeated impossible odds and why this ancient battle still speaks to your life today. The armies of Israel stood on one hill. The Philistines stood on another. Between them stretched the Valley of Elah, silent and tense, like the world holding its breath. Every morning the giant emerged from the Philistine camp, nearly 10 feet tall, wrapped in hundreds of pounds of armor, carrying a spear like a weaver's beam. His shield-bearer walked before him, and then the challenge came. Choose a man to fight me. If he defeats me, we will serve you. But if I defeat him, you will serve us. No soldier moved, not even King Saul, the tallest warrior in Israel. Fear spread like wildfire. But a question hung in the air. Was there anyone who would dare to answer? Far away from the battlefield, a young shepherd named David was tending his father's sheep. He was not a soldier. He was the youngest of 8 brothers. His days were filled with quiet hills, music from a harp, and watching over fragile lambs. Yet hidden in those lonely fields, something extraordinary was forming inside him. David had faced dangers before. A lion once attacked his flock, and he fought it with his bare hands. A bear came another time, and he chased it down to rescue the sheep. But none of Israel knew this. To them, David was only a boy. Still, destiny was quietly moving toward the valley. One morning, David's father Jesse called him, "Take food to your brothers at the battlefield." The journey would change history. As David approached the camp, he heard the noise of soldiers preparing for battle. Trumpets sounded. Armor clashed, but suddenly the noise faded, replaced by a thunderous voice. Goliath had stepped forward again. The giant's words cut through the air like a blade. "Am I a dog that you come at me with sticks?" He mocked the God of Israel and cursed the army that stood trembling before him. And David stood there, stunned, not by the giant's size, but by Israel's silence. David turned to the soldiers nearby. Who is this Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God? The men whispered about the king's reward. Riches, the king's daughter in marriage, freedom from taxes for the victor's family. Yet none of them dared step forward. David's older brother Eliab overheard him and burned with anger. "Why have you come down here? I know your pride." But David refused to back down. A fire had been lit inside him. Was this moment bigger than fear? Bigger than armor? Bigger even than a giant? Soon the words of the young shepherd reached King Saul. Curious and desperate, the king ordered that David be brought to him. The moment was almost unbelievable. A teenage shepherd standing before the king while a giant terrorized the nation outside. Saul looked at him and shook his head. "You are only a boy. Goliath has been a warrior since his youth." But David answered with calm confidence. He spoke of the lion, the bear, and the God who delivered him from both. "The Lord who rescued me will rescue me from this Philistine." The room fell silent. Could faith truly defeat brute force? Saul hesitated, then made a decision. "Go, and the Lord be with you." But before David left, the king placed his own armor on the young shepherd. The helmet slid down over David's eyes. The sword hung heavy at his side. He tried to walk, but it was impossible. Slowly, he removed every piece of armor and placed it back. "I cannot fight with these," he said. Instead, David picked up his shepherd's staff, a sling, and 5 smooth stones from the stream. 5 stones. 5 stones against a giant. But why 5? Was David expecting more enemies? Or was he simply ready for whatever might come? Across the valley, Goliath saw the young boy approaching. At first, he laughed. The Philistine army roared with mocking laughter. This was the champion Israel had chosen, a shepherd with no armor, carrying only a sling. The giant's voice thundered again. "Come to me, and I will give your flesh to the birds of the air." The ground trembled with every step he took, yet David did not slow down. In fact, he began to run toward the giant. The battlefield froze. Something unbelievable was about to happen. As David ran, he reached into his pouch and pulled out one stone, just one. The sling began to spin in the air, faster and faster, cutting through the wind. Goliath raised his shield, preparing for a close fight. But the attack would come from a distance he never expected. In a flash, the stone flew from the sling like a bullet. It crossed the valley in a heartbeat and struck the giant directly in the forehead. The impact was sudden, brutal. The massive warrior staggered. For a moment, the battlefield held its breath. Then the giant fell forward, crashing into the earth with a thunder that echoed across the valley. Goliath, the terror of Israel, lay motionless in the dust. The impossible had just happened. David ran forward, climbed onto the fallen giant, and took Goliath's own sword. With it, he cut off the giant's head. The Philistine army stared in disbelief. Their champion had fallen, defeated by a shepherd. Panic spread through their ranks. Suddenly, the same army that had mocked Israel began to flee, and the soldiers of Israel, who moments before had been paralyzed by fear, now surged forward with unstoppable courage. The victory spread across the land like wildfire. The shepherd boy became a hero. Songs would one day be sung about him in every town of Israel. But the deeper truth of that moment went far beyond a battlefield, because David did not win through strength, size, or armor. He won through faith. While others saw an unbeatable giant, David saw a challenge that God could overcome. But here is the question that still echoes through history. What giants stand in front of you today? Fear, doubt, impossible circumstances. The story of David and Goliath reminds us that the greatest battles are not won by power alone, but by courage and trust in something greater than ourselves. And if this story inspired you, don't keep it to yourself. Share this video with someone who needs to remember that giants can fall. Leave a comment below telling us what part of this story impacted you the most. And if you want to discover more extraordinary stories from the Bible that reveal hidden lessons and powerful truths, click the video on your screen right now and subscribe to the channel, because the next story might change the way you see everything.